Eddie, you're only doing business on your cell phone, correct?
Yes.
David's asking.
Yes.
You can have it on you, just in case you have to call 911 again.
That is correct, so keep your phone on, please. It is 5 o'clock, 5:01, Monday, August 25th, 2025, and I am calling this meeting to order. So with that, we'll jump into item number 1. We'll do roll call for Board of Directors.
Carol Norrell.
Hanoi Avila.
David Flores.
All right. Moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence. Call for the moment.
I did call for a moment of silence. We'll have a moment of silence. All right, we'll go to item number 3, comment and question from district residents. These are limited to 2 minutes for each speaker, with the exception of Mr. Tom Monroe, who has requested 4 minutes. Morrow, sorry. Morrow, I apologize. And he has requested 4 minutes, so yeah.
Hello, Board. Please update your meeting rules so they conform with the law. The district lawsuit is an undemocratic assault on constitutional rights. The judge was correct that legally this is the wild, wild west. Instead of going into all the problems with this lawsuit, I'd like to focus on solutions. The board consistently receives fewer than 3 contractor bids. This is a very real problem. Here are some practical remedies. Resolve that 3 is the minimum number of bids rather than the maximum. Give longer windows for RFPs, RFQs, and bids. Ensure that Infomark uses that extra time effectively. Rebid contracts every 5 years so you expand familiarity with new vendors. Be as clear as possible in bid criteria so vendors see a level playing field. Engage procurement consultants who can identify and reach a broader range of qualified vendors. We are not a podunk town in the sticks. Austin Metro has more population than 93% of U.S. metro areas and twice the population density. The problem isn't scarcity, it's process. Once again, please make a proposal for the meeting rule cleanup. Thank you.
Cole, would we be able to put that on the next agenda?
To
The
clean up the
meeting
meeting
rule
rules.
cleanup?
Yeah, I'll put that under the information management committee.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Next is Tina Flores.
While we were out delivering flyers about the MUD's frivolous lawsuit, a member of the coven, the one on Hannah K with 3 dogs, decided to shout out, "Get out of our neighborhood." Now, honey, let's get this straight. You live in Anderson Mill West, I live in Anderson Mill West, we both pay taxes here. Whoever told you this place was exclusively yours lied to you. This is the mindset of the coven. They don't see community, families, or neighbors. They see enemies, they see infestations. If you don't match their taste, you don't belong. But here's the fun part. The conversations we had with actual residents while walking the street, gems like, someone's getting a kickback. It's about time someone does something about the corruption. And my personal favorite, where there's money, there's fraud, it's insidious. The most common question, what's the drama now? Don't worry, we filled in the blanks. And the result, traffic to muducation.org has soared in just 2 days. Subscriptions have doubled, people are paying attention. They want to know exactly what you four are doing with their tax dollars. And here's the kicker. While you try to spin, twist, and stretch a story, the public has the court-stamped filed documents, every last one of them. The facts, undeniable, in black and white. Truth doesn't need a PR team, it just needs daylight.
All right, thank you, Tina Flores. Next is Linda Bob.
The chaos machine never stops churning here. Today's edition of What Fresh Hell Has This Board Been Up To begins once again with Chris Rocco, Beth Jones, Hanoi Avila, and Carol Norrell. You've withheld public records, you've rubber-stamped checks for services never delivered, you've made excuses for failing contractors, and now you're feeding yourselves and your families on the taxpayers' dime while collecting $221 each just to sit here. Meanwhile, there are neighbors who can't even pay their water bill. That's the familiar drumbeat of chaos that defines this board. Then came your lawsuit letter, no signature, dated in June, delivered in August, hidden inside a billing envelope with no return address, no contact information, and no fax. Did you really think people wouldn't ask what's going on? Well, muducation.org had the answer. We published every official court document, including the July 10th transcript, where the judge denied your request to trample constitutional rights. And for those of you watching at home, mark your calendars. The next hearing is September 17th. That's when the court will hear the motion to dismiss this lawsuit against citizens, because the U.S. Constitution, the Texas Constitution, and the Texas Citizens Participation Act all say you cannot sue people into silence. Freedom of speech is not to protect what's popular. It exists to protect what those in power don't want to hear. Go to muducation.org for direct access to the official records. Thank you.
All right. That's the last person I have signed up to speak. Are you interested in speaking, or I just saw you coming in? No, you're good? All right. Okay. Well, any feedback from the board on some of these comments? Carol?
Well,
Cole, if we answer to the constituents, doesn't it have to be regarding the agenda items on here?
You're allowed to kind of comment, you can't take any action on what
Okay,
you're doing.
perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think the most recent handout that you all have provided is somewhat misleading because it says against its residents, implying innuendo is that the lawsuit is against the entire population, which is what I call a skewed fact at best, a non-fact. There are some unfortunate things that have occurred along the way. The thing that was dismissed was or not carried through, was the the TRO, not the case. And that again is a misleading communication that is happening out there. I would ask the residents to be patient, to listen. There will be more explanations coming forward. And I do invite the population to come to that hearing on September. That would be very good. So,
Yeah. Well, before I do make my statement regarding the comments made, I want to make it very clear to the public that TROs are legal mechanisms given to us by the courts to preserve the status quo for 14 days. The fact that a judge did not sign that order does not have any bearing whatsoever in our case. Okay? I just want to make that very clear. So with that, I want to address the residents, those that are here present and those that are listening. Dear residents, the Williamson-Travis County Municipal Utility District Number 1, what we call the MUD, has recently found it necessary to file a lawsuit against one of its own board members and several other individuals, some of whom reside here and one who does not. You may have already encountered information about this on social media or web posting. The MUD regrets that our situation has escalated to litigation. However, a prolonged series of coercive practices has placed the MUD in a precarious situation. Contractors who are essential to the MUD's operation are reluctant to work with us, with many having left permanently. Individuals are apprehensive about performing their duties for the MUD. Multiple former board members have departed, taking valuable experiences away from this MUD, citing their unwillingness to continue being subject to abuse. One of these individuals, immediately following one of our meetings, stated directly to me, this is a first-hand experience, while I was just sitting right there, in front of two of our contractors who have also provided written testimony regarding this threat, that she intended to destroy my life. Undoubtedly, you have or will receive information such as this one, right? Which we believe to be false, denouncing the decision to litigate. An example of this is the recent dissemination by David Flores, also an associate and participant of modification, a party to our lawsuit, misleading the community to believe that this board is suing the residents. Well, let me make very crystal clear here. The MUD is not suing the residents. The MUD, by majority board decision, chose to sue Linda Fabre, David Flores, Tina Flores, and Sarah Teal, the defendants, one of whom is not a resident of this community. This action was taken due to a long string of coercive practices that has left this MUD in a precarious situation, repeat again, and if not addressed, could potentially render this district inoperable. The majority of this board is working tirelessly to preserve the status quo in this community. We have a fiduciary duty to you, the taxpayer, who have entrusted us to lead this community. This is why we're suing these individuals who have over 5 years affected the majority of our relationships within the business community, and I would say a lot of our residents. If we do not stop their continued behavior, they will irreparably harm this community. Listen, residents, the defendant in this matters are attempting to evade accountability for their continuous coercive practice under the disguise that we are depriving them of freedom of speech. This is not about freedom of speech. They have consistently engaged over 5 years in this MUD. They have come to speak at this podium, speak their mind, and yet simultaneously engage in lying, threatening directors and contractors. We have provided every public information request they have requested, which has cost this district thousands of dollars. When have we prohibited them from speaking their mind? When have we denied any public information request? I want you, the resident, to judge for yourself. This is not about suing you. This is about suing people that are affecting this district deeply and the life of this community. We invite you to join us at our next court hearing, September 17th at 9 a.m. at the 480th Judicial District Court of Williamson County. I want you to know that despite these continual threats and chaos fostered by deception and misinformation, we are committed to lead strong and well. Our MUD is doing very well. Our taxes and fees are some of the lowest in the area. Do the research. Residents of the city of Cedar Park wish they had the service fees and the tax rate and the trash and disposal services that we provide. The board majority begs your patience and willingness to consider all the facts involved before making a decision. If you have any question, feel free to contact me directly as a member of the legal task force and committee regarding this legal matter. Okay? Just want to make it very clear again, this is not about suing the residents of this district. That's all I have to say.
The only thing that I'm going to say on top of that is I'm going to reiterate why we have done this, because it is our fiduciary duty. This is something that has to stop. We have lost some good directors. We've lost some good people because they were abused and they were threatened. And it's affected their personal life. It's affected their work life. It's not the cost of doing business, Linda. It's not. I'm not going to go into it anymore. Chris, we're talking about these pink slips that went out, and if you have a comment on it, you can make a comment. Otherwise, we'll move it on.
I don't have any comment.
Okay.
David?
And David, who put them on people's garage doors, wanted to share with us why you did that as a board director.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just want to let the public know that some of the statements that Director Avila said are false. This board never made a motion to include me in this lawsuit. I would beg for anybody on this board to provide those minutes with that motion to the public. That was a decision made behind closed doors. Okay, so let's get that correct. Many board members have left. Board members come and go. They have lives to live. They have other missions that they want to do, other tasks. We had one director quit, but we don't know why. It was never addressed why publicly. So, I'm still to this day don't know why that director left. To say that contractors have left because of these individuals. Hanoi fired and actually made the motion to hire new counsel. So he was part of that. The board voted, I believe 4 hands in the air. There was only 4 people there. That Jones was absent. So to say that we drove him away, we fired him. Hanoi made the motion, and we retained counsel. We rebid our engineers to stay current with the recommendation of TCEQ to rebid every 5 years. So we put out an RFQ, or RFP, one of the two, and Gray Engineering decided not to submit. We had nothing to do with their choice to submit or not submit. We hired, in my opinion, a better engineer. Very happy with the quality work that he does, and I would imagine that the rest of the 4 board members would agree. So to say that we drove great engineer would be false. Sage Management, once our lawyer was fired, hightailed it out here because they saw the writing on the wall. We weren't going to have them around. We're not going to have around underperforming companies working for this district. Infomark, we fired because they were underperforming. Hanoi voted to fire them. We didn't drive them, they were underperforming. We have a duty, you're right, a fiduciary duty to hold these contractors accountable. If they're underperforming, we find someone else. I don't see any position open that we can't fill. So to say that we're suffering, that's a matter of opinion. Thank you, Mr. Pavilla.
You're welcome. All right, so let's move on to consent agenda item. The following items are considered routine by the district and will be enacted by one motion. So separate discussion will occur on this item unless board request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and we'll consider it normal sequence of the agenda. Do I have a motion for item number 5, minutes of 23, June 25, July 16th of 2025?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion seconded by Carol. Discussion. Carol?
I've read them. I believe they're accurate.
None.
None.
I didn't get them till just today. I didn't see them in the folder in the
Okay.
drive. So that's why I'm going to vote no, because I didn't.
All in favor? Motion passes. Bookkeeper's report. Again, this is a consent agenda item, so we don't have to go through the report. So can I have a motion to accept the bookkeeper's report as submitted?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Director
I'll
Rocco.
second.
I will make the motion to second it after due review and very much discussion. I believe all is inaccurate.
Okay. Have no comments? Do you have any comments? Chris?
No.
David?
No.
Okay, all in favor? Tax matters, including, I guess you can take it from here, Cole, item 1, discuss develop status of district pursuant to SB 2, 86th Legislature, 2019.
That's correct. So I can take that, and then I know on the line right now is Corey Howell with the GMS group. And so he can go over items C and kind of discuss C, D, and E as I'll pop in as needed. But every year pursuant to Senate Bill 2, municipal utility districts have to declare their development status. You all have been doing this now every year for the past 6 years, this will be year 6, I believe. And so, what that means is you're either a special taxing unit, a developing district, or a developed district. Developed district means you're a district that has funded or financed the infrastructure and facilities to provide service to at least 95% of the district. You all are a fully built out district, therefore you would be considered or classified a developed district. And so, if there's any questions about that, or if you don't recall from last year, I'm happy to answer them, but otherwise we would need a motion for you all to declare the district a developed district for the 2025 tax year.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I have a motion, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Chris. Do we need any discussion on item 1? Okay, all in favor?
Sorry, I apologize. Cole, is this something that we're doing once and done forever, or is that something that we have to do every year?
You do it every year.
Okay,
Every year.
I appreciate that.
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you.
Adopt resolution declaring development status of district for the 2025 tax year.
Correct.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right, review report from the district financial advisor on the tax rate necessary to meet the district debt service requirements.
Board members, this is Corey Howell on the line, your financial advisor. I've had the pleasure of meeting a few of you guys. Haven't had the chance to meet everyone, but it's nice to visit with you. Let's see, included in your board packet is a copy of a tax rate study that I put together for you guys for this year. Just to wrap up the process for you guys, Cole's discussed, and you guys have now taken action on the first step of the tax rate setting process. It's really 3 steps in total that we have to go through. The second step, which is also something that the board is going to be taking action on tonight, is to authorize the publication of a total tax rate. And then the third and final step of the process is something that you take care of at your next regular board meeting, and that's to hold the public hearing and actually adopt your tax rate. The rate that you publish tonight simply establishes the ceiling for what you can set at your public hearing next month. So you can set a rate that is equal to or less than the published rate. You just can't exceed it. And so what I've done is I've recommended, if you take a look at the tax rate study, and you'll know you're looking at the right report when you see Williamson-Travis County MUD number 1, 2025 tax rate setting points for discussion and today's date up at the top. Under the recommendations, you can see that I've recommended that you guys publish a total tax rate of 27.34 cents. And that when you come back next month, that you guys consider setting that as your total tax rate, which all of that would be attributable to your operations and maintenance tax rate. We don't have any bonds outstanding, so obviously we have no need to levy a debt service tax rate. You guys, just as a refresher, your 2024 tax rate was 27.33 cents. So this is showing you a tax rate increase. Now, I don't want you guys to think that I'm necessarily recommending that you set 27.34 cents, but let me just give you some backup as to why I put that rate in there for your published rate. I'm going to have you bounce around, so bear with me. But if you turn to the second page of my report, this is a document that is known as the Truth in Taxation Worksheet. And it's something that's put together for me so that I can stay within the confines of the first part of this discussion that Cole went over with you, which is all the rules and regulations that fall under Senate Bill 2. Since you are a developed district, what that means as a practical matter is that we cannot set a tax rate that would increase the MUD tax bill on the average homestead owner by more than 3.5%. And if we do, we subject ourselves to a mandatory rollback election. So the rate that I've recommended that you publish happens to be the right under the mandatory rollback election rate. But let me walk you through this schedule. So the calculations and the tax rates are predicated, again, on what's happened to the average homestead value. So if you take a look at line item number 3, you can see that our average homestead value last year in 2024 was approximately a little under $449,000 per home. And if you look down at line item number 9, you can see, surprise, surprise, appraisals have gone up. That's gone up to about $464,000 per home, which represents a 3.4% increase in the average homestead value. And right under that, line item number 10 shows you what the maximum operations and maintenance tax rate that we can set this year without triggering an election. And that also ties to the quote-unquote bottom line number on this sheet, which is on the subsequent page, on page 3 of my report. Line item 24 shows you the mandatory tax election rate, which is equal to that maximum O&M rate, 27.347. And so that's why I've recommended that you guys just publish 27.34 cents. All you are doing is giving yourself some management flexibility when you come back and hold your public hearing. You're not required to set that rate. Remember, you can set anything that is equal to or less than that rate. So that's why I've just said, give yourself some flexibility. publish the maximum rate that we can without subjecting ourselves to a rollback, and then, you can hash out which rate you want to adopt next month. But if you go back to the first page of the analysis, just a few kind of high-level things to cover with you guys. We're going to be levying a tax against approximately $940 million of taxable value this year, which is about a $40 million increase over our certified value from last year, which is hovering right around $900 million. I've just shown you just a little breakdown of where our value is coming from. From the Williamson County portion of the district, we've got about $742 million of AV, and then from the Travis County portion of the district, we've got just shy of $200 million, about $198 million of assessed valuation. So I think you guys know this, but about 80% of our value coming from the Williamson County portion, and the remaining 20 coming from Travis. Let's see, we've gone over the average homestead values. If you guys do, just to point this out, if you do end up deciding that you want to set 27.34 cents for your operations and maintenance tax rate / total tax rate, then it would mean that the MUD tax bill on the average homestead owner would go up by about $42. Expressed on a monthly basis, that's like $3.50 per month. And then finally, this just so you guys are kind of aware of the implications of your decision when you're trying to figure out, a penny in this direction or a penny of tax rate in that direction. 1 penny means about $94,000 of tax revenue for the district, and it means about $46 of annual MUD taxes paid by that average homestead owner in a $464,000 home. If you guys would flip with me past the truth and taxation worksheets, the last page of my report is just a very short-term outlook at your general operating fund. Just a little background. I had a conference call with your budget committee and your engineer Jacob, and we were discussing your capital improvement plan. And one of the things that came up on that committee meeting or conference call was the fact that we should analyze how that capital improvement plan may or may not impact our general operating fund reserve over the next 5 years as we implement those expenditures. And so I don't want you guys to get mired in all these numbers, but all I'm trying to do, or all I'm trying to accomplish with this schedule, is show you on a no growth and assessed valuation basis, and that's reflected 4 columns in from the far left. Column header says previous year assessed valuation, and you can see I've got $940 million in there. So basically what that assumption is saying is that let's just assume that the property, we get no additional property value appreciation. We're just, at $940 million from now for the next 5 years. That's a conservative assumption. What if we set 27.34 cents for our maintenance tax, and we set that each year for the next 5-6 years? And then what I've also done in looking at your budget, kind of in the middle of this schedule, you can see a column titled Operating Revenues and Operating Expenditures. The operating revenues column is just all of your non-maintenance tax revenues that are in your budget. So I've taken your total revenues and I've just backed out everything that you've got budgeted for your operations and maintenance tax revenues. And then the expenditures are all of your normal annual recurring expenditures and do not include any capital expenditures that you've got budgeted. And then 3 columns in from the far right, column header says capital expenditures. Those are numbers that Jacob has been working on for you guys and updating the CIP, and that just reflects what we think we're going to be spending money on for the next 5 or so years that are quote unquote they're non-recurring expenses. They're one-time expenditures. And the bottom line on this schedule, board members, is reflected on the far right-hand column, the reserve balance. Generally speaking, what you want to always strive for in your general operating fund is to maintain a minimum 12-month reserve. In other words, your fund balance, be equal to or greater than your budgeted recurring expenses. And so this is showing you that even if we implemented the CIP on a no growth basis and all of these assumptions that I've just gone over, that you wouldn't dip below that 12-month reserve mark. In fact, this is showing you that, the first year you take a hit because we've got $1.6 million budgeted for CapEx. But, it just shows you also over time that we'd be able to replenish that fund balance by virtue of, having the expenses spread out over a number of years and, being able to, pull in additional maintenance tax revenues over the subsequent years. I think one comment that I just want to head off in case it's in any of your minds, but oftentimes people will say, well, how do you know our revenues are going to look like that for the next 5 years? And how do you know our expenditures are going to look like that for the next 5 years? Well, I don't. I think it's safe to say that generally speaking, we're in a, inflationary environment. And so, expenses are going to go up. What I'm assuming with the revenues and the expenses is that the spread between those two things will remain approximately constant. In other words, to the extent the expenses go up, that there will be some sort of action taken to, raise the revenues in order to maintain a roughly constant spread between those two numbers. It's not, scientific analysis by any means, but it's just the best we have in terms of financial planning. So those are the recommendations and the analysis, especially as it relates to the capital improvement plan. I'd be happy to take any questions from the board of directors.
Well, I wanted to make a comment. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the report. I do want to mention that this is a new financial advisor that we've had no experience with, other than, we signed him up this year. But the procedures that he's used and the logic that he is talking about in his report, it seems to be what I've experienced in my previous times on the board. Or in other words, this is what any financial advisor would do. And, I agree with the logic that he's using. I think it's important to also realize that not keeping too large of a fund balance, we're a nonprofit organization, and if there's ever an opportunity to not raise fees or not increase taxes because our fund balance has grown too large, that's what we need to do. And I think that this calculation that he's shown shows that, because if we get to a point where our fund balance is 200 or 300% of operating expenses, we need to think about lowering taxes or fees or things like that. That's one of my big hopes in the future, that we're able to do something like that. But no, other than that, I just wanted to comment that it looks good. This is exactly what happened last year. We do want to post the amount right underneath the rollback amount. That's all I got.
Carol?
Thank you.
Yeah, and again, board members, just to reiterate, I'm not, necessarily recommending that you guys raise the tax rate by, 0.0001. All I want you guys to do is to have some flexibility when you have your public hearing and adopt the rates, just by publishing the maximum. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And so, if someone were to say, well, then you should have just run the analysis, the 5-year, general fund outlook at the current tax rate, 0.2733 cents instead of 0.2734 cents, just to point out what the difference means in terms of, tax revenues. It's like, $900 to $1,000 of tax revenue difference. We are not, well, let me speak for myself. I am not that smart when I'm recommending rates to you guys. I'm not $1,000 smart. And so, that's why I've just put the maximum rate in that cash flow analysis. But amen. There's no need to build up a, you guys have a nice reserve. It's not egregious by any means. It's in line with, what your expenditures are. You've got a comfortable reserve. And if you keep the tax rate about the same as it was last year, you're setting yourself up for a situation where you'd be able to manage this capital improvement plan that Jacob's put together for you. That's all.
I got a comment or a question as well. I want to thank you for the report. It was very insightful. Once I saw the proposed budget, I was a little nervous with the expenditures that Jacob put on there. I must had to go change my. Never mind. That's for another day. Anyway, so thank you for putting that into perspective. It really made me feel a lot more confident in the future of this district. One question I have a couple of questions. And to do these numbers, you received the budget to look at what our expenditures are, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I've got a copy of your most recent bookkeeper's report, and I've got a copy of the capital improvement plan.
Okay, but not the proposed budget. You didn't need that to do your analysis?
Let me open my file up and see if I have I think I do have a proposed budget, actually.
So Corey, if you have the current bookkeeper's report, the proposed budget is in there.
Okay, then yes,
Okay.
yes, I do have the proposed budget.
And
And I took, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, David, I didn't mean to
It's
interrupt.
okay. You go ahead.
I was just going to comment as he was talking and I was looking at the numbers. With that rate, if you were to use that rate and calculating based on the valuation that he cited, you would generate a little over $100,000 of additional income from your maintenance tax revenue, which then, of course, would reduce the proposed deficit right now on that preliminary proposed budget. So it does bring you a little bit of relief. Because like you, I get a little nervous. I don't want to see too much of a deficit because you have a nice surplus of about 15 to 16 operating months of excess operating to cover yourself, and I'd hate to see you lose some of that. So this reduces that a little bit and gets you closer to break even.
Yeah, okay. So would you be able to tell me when you received that from the accountant that has the budget in it?
When I received a copy of the bookkeeper's report?
Yes.
Sorry, was that the
Yes,
question?
that was a question. When did you receive it?
Let's see. Looks like I got it on or about July 24th.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So the fund balance, what would be an egregious amount to have as a fund balance, in your opinion? I know every district is different, size, expenditures, but what would you say that number would be that would be excessive, egregious?
I don't know. I mean, look, I think it depends. You guys are a single-family residential district predominantly, and so, you're different than, say, a commercial MUD. For a commercial MUD, I would say, a commercial industrial MUD, I would say, yeah, you want to have a bigger reserve because, there's more chance of a fluctuation in your property your property values. You can have a tenant move out of a big building and move a bunch of personal property and value out of their building, and that can swing your taxable value in a big way in 1 year. And so that's why it's good for them to have a big reserve. You, as a single-family residential MUD, have a little bit more consistency with the assessed valuation that you can expect, from a given year to the next. The number I cited earlier when I was going over that short-term general fund cash flow analysis is just, you want to have at least a 12-month reserve. That's kind of the call it industry standard. And it's just kind of prudent, public financial management to maintain a 12-month reserve. In other words, if you're expending, normal recurring expenses are somewhere around 4.2 million, then at a bare minimum, you want to strive to maintain about 4.2 million in your general operating fund reserve. You guys have as of your July report, and sorry, I'm not quick enough to pull up just going to look at the July report, but because the numbers won't have changed materially, but
Right now, we have 5.8 million in
Yeah.
our, but we still have a few more months of expenditures with no more revenue, not much
with
revenue.
no more
coming
revenue,
in.
right? Yeah, exactly. And so that's one of the things that I've contemplated in that general fund cash flows. I've said, okay, if you go to the last page of my report, that the top row, 2026, that second column from the far left, beginning balance, $5.16 million. Basically, what I've done in arriving at that number, again, this is not a scientific document. This is simply a financial planning tool. So when you get to January 1st of 2026 and the fund balance looks different than 5.16 million, I don't want you to call me up and say, hey, what the heck?
Yeah, we might be doing that.
This is just a projection, just based upon how your operating fund's going to behave for, the next, 4 or 5 months through the end of the year. But, if you're starting the year off with 5.1 million, 5.2 million, and you've got a, $4.2 million of recurring expenses, that is totally, and it's adequate, and B, it by no means is an indication that you've extracted an excessive amount of tax revenues from the taxpayers without, putting that money into, the systems that serve your community, the collection lines, the distribution lines, et cetera, all the facilities that serve property in the district.
Well, thank you.
But
Very-
I don't think I could answer you directly.
No,
and
that's
say-
fine. You're very insightful, a lot of information. I always like getting smarter. It's kind of hard the older I get, but, I'll get there.
Carol, do you have any comments, any additional
And,
comments? or
hold on, I'm
anything?
not done yet, sorry.
No, we need to
No,
move, we need
hold
to
on,
get
sir.
moving.
Okay. This
we
is
have
important.
we have an-
I need to know this, this is stuff I want to learn.
Yeah, but we need to get moving. You
Okay.
cannot use everyone's
But why
time.
do you
You
do
have
this
asked
every
a lot of
time?
time, so go ahead, Carol, do you have anything else on this?
I apologize.
I just have one more question, board, please, one more question. That's it.
No, you're not getting an extra
Hold on,
question.
you're one
We
person.
are moving
Carol,
forward
can I
with the
please have
agenda.
one more
We're
question?
not gonna finish our meeting if we do it in the time that we have allotted.
Go ahead.
If
Carol.
y'all will allow me, I just have one quick thing, David, that's all. I apologize.
What
to
about
you.
I got one
You can
more
always
question.
email and ask questions. She can go ahead, and we gotta get moving. We have an agenda to go through.
It's just a review item. That is my nature. I want to hear again that the recommendation is for the .2734. Although we're not locked to that, we could certainly come back and go back to the .2733, which means that it is a cost of $350 per month, approximately, is what that works out to be. So that's just all I'm asking. Is that what he did say?
Let me repeat just to make sure I heard the question correctly, but I think the question was, if the first part is correct. You're just, all you're doing tonight is deciding what rate you want to publish and thereby establishing the ceiling for what you can set next month. I think the next part of it was, if the board sets 27.34 cents, then what does that mean in terms of the impact on the average homestead owner? Is that correct?
Yes.
It would mean that the MUD tax bill would go up by $42 based upon those average homestead values that we discussed in the taxation worksheet.
But when you use the term $3.50 per month.
Oh, yeah, just on sometimes people, I always express it on a monthly basis too, just because, some folks are on fixed income and it's nice to just know what the monthly impact is.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks. So let's move on to item D, 5D, call a hearing for review of the proposed 2025 tax rate. Do we need a motion for that, Cole?
Yes, you do. So
Okay.
two things too on that agenda. So you've heard C. So yes, you'll call, so your hearing will be at the board's next regular meeting. And so as long as we have a quorum, it'll still be the 5:30 on Wednesday, September. Let me make sure. 17, correct, thank you. So your regular board meeting will be the date for your next hearing. So what you do tonight is we just need a motion authorizing publication of the proposed tax rate. And that would be if you go with what was recommended by your financial advisor, that would be the 0.2734.
I move that we, publicize the
Yeah, the
maximum
Motion of,
Yeah, exactly.
tax rate?
motion of our tax rate.
Yes, 2734 with the public hearing date for the 17th. Yes.
So you're moving with that motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we have a second?
A second.
Second. Do we need discussion, further discussion on this? Nope. All right, all in favor?
Thank you.
Engineers
Thank you,
report.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Engineers report.
Yes, sir. Okay, so first item on our report is the status of your cleaning and televising job. All the work in the field has been done. We've received all the videos. We reviewed the videos. We had some issues with the reports that came in from the contractor. We talked to the contractor about it. They were revising the reports and getting them back to us. So at this time, we haven't finalized the list of necessary repairs. We'll be able to do that once we get the revised reports. There was an issue with a broken manhole, which Mark coordinated with the contractor, got us up to speed, and I believe the contractor and Mark working that payment out the broken.
So it was the contractor that?
They broke the manhole and they lifted it off. So I hope that we'll be coming to you guys next month with a summary of findings.
I'm excited for that. Well, yes and no.
I'll bring some nice pictures. Okay, so right now, your capital plan, the one that we reviewed with Corey, is an estimate, right? We're hoping to be able to refine that number. The lead and copper rule revisions, the letter went out, notifying residents of Anderson Mills, section 5 and 6. We have documentation that shows that your service lines are not lead. We've updated that database on the TCEQ's website. And in your capital improvement plan, we've delineated out for the next 2 fiscal years budget to go out and actually identify the remaining service lines broken out in 2 years. Grant joined today, talked with you, with Director Rocco, about identifying the plumbing contractor who did all that work, so we'll work to see if we can get documentation.
I was going to say, what do you need as far as documentation is concerned? An affidavit?
Affidavit would be probably pretty strong.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't find that out until today.
So,
That's kind of where I was today. Why I was late.
no, that's okay.
I'll provide it.
We have time to track it down. If we feel justified that we can rule out those service lines as not being left, that'd be great.
Yep.
So we'll run those traps. I did attach to the back, attachment 1 is the inspection outline. We presented that a few months ago. That is just kind of outlining the next steps if we do need to take those steps to identify service lines. This is really a justification when y'all are setting the budget as to why there's money there to identify the service lines. The Gama and Sunchase Park Lift Station Rehab Project, we're still on the way with the design on that. I know Grant's getting pretty close to having a set to review, getting some electrical lines back, so again, next month we're setting for a better update on that and moving that towards finishing design. Sidewalk resolution, this was discussed at infrastructure committee, so bringing it back to the board in a previous month. the resolution was presented, there was really no action taken. If the board wants to take action on that resolution, or revise that resolution, let us know. There's a copy of it in the board packet. Do you all want to discuss that now?
Yeah, just complete your report and then we'll probably go and discuss that, yep.
The next item, which we might be able to take off at this point, but the El Salito sidewalks, work was done, the sod was placed, it rained like heck this summer. We obviously had a dry spell, but there's been a little bit more rain. I think this was discussed in the infrastructure committee as well. A previous proposal had been brought to the board to have an Adair come out and water it on a as-needed basis. I think at the infrastructure committee level, we discussed getting Infomark approval up to like maybe 2 or 3 waterings or something. If they felt the need to water the grass, to go for it, if not, we can discuss that if you wish. Infrastructure committee meeting minutes are attached. One thing that we did add to those meeting minutes, I don't know if you saw it or not, but at the bottom there is a broken down action item list of things. And then as far as other matters, Grant did go back out and look at the CMU wall at 2012 with my notes. Measurements are about the same as they were last quarter, so we continue to do that. And there's an updated memo with photos and documentation, that's attachment 3. So we're keeping this tracks of land from DR Horton item, I don't know if you have an update there.
Nope.
Okay. And then Asheville Station pump replacement. Last I talked with Gerald, the seals have been ordered and they're expected to be repaired in the next 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, so we might have another update there on those pumps that been repaired. And then the last item, we provided recommendations on your budget based on our capital improvement plan and expenditures over the last fiscal year, as well as updating your CIP and the cost analysis chart, CLS attachments 4, 5, and 6. That documentation was what was relayed to Cory to help set the tax rate and understand kind of your pending expenditures. And then I think one of the items that was discussed that came out with some email exchanges with your bookkeeper was looking at doing a kind of a 5-year budget cash flow for the bookkeeping side of things as well, which might be a good idea if y'all look at. But I'm happy to answer any questions if y'all want to go over any of those particular attachments or discuss any of those particular items.
Let's go ahead before we go into questioning. Can we, Cole, can you brief us on the sidewall, and then we can go into questioning.
Sure. The sidewalk memo, you all asked us to put that together a couple months ago. Let's see. Yeah, May, and you confirmed it has not changed since. Board believes in the best district or best interest of the district to maintain the sidewalks that are not currently being maintained. Let's see. The board acknowledges at the time this resolution was considered, Travis County maintained the sidewalks within the Travis County portion of the district. Williamson County had issued a resolution that the county would not maintain the sidewalk within Williamson County portion. Therefore, the board now wishes to evaluate and investigate sidewalks for possible repairing and maintaining the sidewalks within the Travis County and Williamson County portions of the district. Then it goes out that based on what the infrastructure committee put together about the process. It hasn't been updated since May. I mean, other than the date, it hasn't been updated since May.
So we've talked about this, Chris, I remember you bringing this up, and so I'm going to ask that if you want to go ahead and entertain the thoughts of moving and submitting a motion so we can further discuss about this resolution.
Yeah, I make a motion to discuss it further.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Beth. Carol, any thoughts on the resolution?
None at this time.
Okay. Yeah, we've discussed this. I've reviewed it after our infrastructure committee meeting. I think we've talked last time. It's clear that the county is not going to repair Williamson County is not going to repair our sidewalks. And correct?
Yeah,
And
they
we've
have
done all
a resolution that they would not do that.
Correct. And so, yeah, we left it at that. Do we want to have this enact this resolution, sign it, and and move forward so that we can include sidewalks maybe into our broader plan of the district.
We've always taken care of them.
Well, yeah.
And I'll say just kind of what this states, sorry to go, let me cut you off, is that it's kind of up to the infrastructure committee and the engineer at both discretion to go review and survey and see the sidewalks, and then, based on the resolution, at the discretion of the infrastructure committee, the sidewalk report memorandum will be brought to the full board of directors for a board discussion on whether to authorize repairs, maintenance, or take no action. If it's within Travis County, the recommendation could be sent to the county to encourage repair and maintenance, if directed by the board, and the repairs or necessary maintenance. And within Williamson County, the action will be up to the district for decision. So it'll be up to the board to take any action. So this isn't locking you all in to
Right.
every single, this is just saying we're gonna take responsibility for reviewing and potentially taking action.
I'm good with it, so. Do you have any? So we have a motion on the table to review. So do you have anything to say about it? I'm good with it. I've reviewed it. I think we should move forward and do that.
We've been talking about this for years, every year, we always take
No
care of it,
changes.
so.
Right?
Right.
Question.
We don't need a motion for no changes, right?
No, you need a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay.
I just have one question. This is a resolution that we will monitor and, it says manage, monitor, et cetera, and then consider, well, I've lost the place that I was looking at, but it isn't saying that we automatically do repair.
That's right.
Correct. That's right.
correct.
That's right.
Okay.
We discuss it and decide what to do then.
Okay. David?
Yeah, once again, I'm going to reiterate my stance on this. I don't think it's good for the MUD to get in this business. We have a hard time dealing and being efficient in the water. Accountability, finding our water, I think we need to stick to water, wastewater, storm runoff water, garbage collection, and park maintenance. We took on the CMU walls as that's, in my opinion, taking a little more on our plate that we, shouldn't have, but, it's done, they're nice, I'm not complaining, it is what it is, but I don't think we should add something else to our plate. I would prefer, as a resident of this district, and thinking about the district 30 years from now, I just am not in favor of us taking on another task.
Can I ask a question? Who should pay for it, David?
Once again, I think it is a legal issue. I think that is property that belongs to the resident. If somebody falls and trips, that is your property. You have an easement that allows people to walk through your property. And if somebody falls and trips, I think it's on the owner and they can sue the owner. Now, it's up to the owner to repair it. You go other parts of the United States, like I've said in the past, when it snows, guess who shovels? The owner shovels. Why? Because it's your responsibility. If you fall and slip and you didn't shovel your sidewalk, you get sued. So it's your sidewalk. The owner of that property should be responsible for repairing that.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion? Can you amend your motion to approve the resolution? Because I think you made it,
I can do a new motion.
Yeah, right, because we approved the resolution. He submitted a motion to discuss the resolution.
Yeah, just a motion to approve the resolution.
Make a motion, we approve the resolution.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Beth. We've discussed enough. Are we ready to vote to accept the resolution?
I just want to say one thing, is that we have taken care of this since this district was built. And when people have fallen, we have taken care of it. I don't want people to think that we don't. It has always been taken care of by us. That's all I gotta say, so let's
And
go
I
on.
want to say that in this district, so many streets, sidewalks on one side of the street, so you have half the residents paying for the repair, but all the residents using them. And I don't think that's fair.
Should have bought one without one.
Okay. So I do have a question for you, Cole, and I think we've been back and forth on this. It is not the legal responsibility of residents to fix their sidewalks.
Correct.
Well, if it's their property and the sidewalks are theirs, they could have to, is the resident automatically forced to make repairs? No. But if it's their property, then they should, most districts, how it's handled, person who owns the sidewalk makes the repairs. In your cases, you have counties that sidewalks are legal within some areas within the counties, so that's the issue here.
And as it was discussed, I think several years ago, that the residents didn't put in those sidewalks. Those were built as part of the MUD.
Yeah, but you bought that piece of property with the sidewalk on it. And in the deed, it actually says sidewalk. Remember, Carol, I sent it to you?
Yeah,
No,
I recall that, I recall that. There are some sidewalks though that are down El Salito, or there are some places where there's not a sidewalk that's a part of somebody's property, it's.
El Salito?
So you've gone through our, so what portion, what percentage of our Williamson County, right, because we've been researching Williamson County, you would say belongs, the responsibility falls on the county or belongs to the county?
I don't have that percentage on top of my head.
But would you say it's a majority percentage?
I would, most is.
I'm saying, hearing the attorney, yes, correct?
Yes.
Well,
All right.
most of the district lies within
But
Williamson.
whether or not all of those.
So that means those sidewalks belong to the county, correct?
No.
Which means that the county has said they're not responsible.
They're in there. Yeah.
The county said that they're not gonna maintain any sidewalk.
They were maintaining, for a long time, they were maintaining the sidewalks,
No,
is
they
that
weren't.
correct?
No.
No, Williamson County.
No.
The MUD has always taken care of
I think
that.
for the purpose of this resolution, the resolution isn't saying that you will or won't.
That's right.
repair
Right.
the sidewalk.
It
The
is.
resolution is laying forth a path to evaluate on a case-by-case basis whether or not the district should take action, and if it does, it'll do so in this manner.
Okay.
A general visit, provide recommendations, the board will make a decision after the infrastructure committee reviews. So, on a case-by-case basis, like, for example, El Salito sidewalk. That's on El Salito, public right of way, it's not really in a location that a private resident would take that responsibility, right? It's behind people's back fence, it's on public right of way. Whereas I could see the argument if it was single-family residents, they're in front of their yard, their tree lifted the sidewalk. But all I'm saying is this resolution gives the board the pathway on a case-by-case basis to make a decision. It's not saying you will or you won't. And it's not saying historically you have or haven't. It's just saying, moving forward, you recognize that Williamson County is not going to do anything. Travis County might. And if you see a situation that you want to evaluate, if it's in Williamson County, you know Donnie to approach.
Okay.
If it's in Travis County, might as well try, right? And from that point forward, you can make a decision on whether or not you as the district want to repair that sidewalk.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Thank you for clarifying that. That's very clear. All right, so we have a motion on the table to adopt the resolution. We have a second by Beth. Can we vote on this? Enough discussion. All in favor? Okay, resolution passes. Moving on to questions that we might have regarding the engineer's report. Starts with Carol. Do you have any questions for our engineer?
Oh, not at the
Not at the moment. Okay, so Beth, do you have any questions?
Sorry, what number are you on?
Questions regarding the engineer's report?
No.
Chris?
No.
David?
Comment. Once again, sir, great job with your report, always thorough, very happy with your performance.
Carol, I'll give you a chance again. Do you want to, any questions for the report?
No.
Okay, excellent. All right, moving on to the next agenda item, new business, item number 7.
That also goes to Paul Carroll, so.
So new business, including discuss fire protection services resolution.
Yep, so this is my agenda item. I put in the shared drive, the resolution for fire protection services to be phased out of our water bill, a third each year for the next 3 years. If you live in the city of Cedar Park or the city of Austin, your property tax pays for those services. It is my belief that we are getting double taxed by putting it on to the residents' water bill. So I would like to move that into our general budget and make it our job to figure out how to get those services to our residents without taxing them again. Cole, in other districts, is that a common practice?
Do we have a motion? Have
What
you
is your
submitted a
motion,
motion?
David?
We need a motion. Is your motion to adopt your resolution? Proposed resolution?
My motion is to adopt my resolution.
Excellent, thank you.
I
Do
guess
we have a
so we can
second?
discuss.
Do we have a second on that resolution?
We just need to discuss it, we ain't gonna vote on it.
Well, if we don't have a second, the motion doesn't go through, and then we move to the next agenda item.
That would be,
Okay, your motion has failed, and so we're moving to agenda item number 8, General Manager's Report.
so you don't wanna lower the
I do
people's
not wanna
water
hear
bill.
it
You
anymore.
don't wanna lower the people's water
General
bill. You don't wanna
Manager.
lower the people's water bill.
Well, you don't have a second, sir.
Oh.
So we're
It's
moving
a
to the
publicity stunt.
General Manager's Report.
It's a publicity stunt, David. They'll just raise their taxes to cover it.
Okay, let's just bring order, Manager's Report.
First item, there was a streetlight survey done the day after last month's board meeting. There were 4 outages reported to PEC to get the streetlights fixed. The water accountability for June was 89%. Delinquent letters, there were 101 mailed. There were 72 tags hung and 16 disconnects last billing period. We were able to obtain a accident report from the Sheriff's Department for the light pole that was hit, and we're in the process of filing a claim on the driver's automobile insurance. So more to come on that. Going through the previous projects here in the district, the resurfacing and striping of the tennis courts had been completed by Cortex. The installation of the 3 deed restriction signs were completed in the district by Austin Sign Company. We did have Precision Meter come out to test some of the larger meters in the district. Unfortunately, when they came out, a lot of the like 1.5-inch, 2-inch meters were actually in like smaller residential type meter boxes. So they were not able to get their test equipment in the meter box in order to test them. That was the case on the majority of all of those meters. They came out and spent a decent amount of time. We just got confirmation late last week from them, since they weren't able to actually complete the testing that was prescribed. They're not charging us for coming out to the district. And that project, if we do want to move forward with testing them, to determine the accuracy of them, we would actually have to have them remove the meters, install temporary meters, and they would have to actually take them back to their facility to actually bench test them. They cannot be field tested as we thought they could be. So,
Excuse me.
Yep.
Did we know this at the time we contracted them to do this? Did they make this clear to us when we were?
They were not aware of the meter box sizes.
They didn't even go out to look at the meter boxes before they signed their contract.
We gave them a list of meter sizes and addresses, and they provided us a quote. They did not come out to actually see the meters themselves prior to coming out to do the actual testing.
This sounds like their problem.
Can we let him proceed? Can you proceed with your report, and then we can ask questions at the end?
Sure.
Yeah.
And David, they're no charging for the trip. So it's not, sorry. My apologies. Apologies, Chris.
you're offending them, not me.
Well, so it's not costing the district. So, the pressure, the cleaning of the CMU walls is still in process. He's projected to finish that next month around the 8th, assuming we keep dry weather between now and then. Land Care was able to install the rain sensor for the irrigation sensor here around the office area, so that if it does rain, we won't be irrigating during rain. They also completed the mulch refresh. The majority of that went to Anderson Mill West Park, and some of it went over to the Hatch Park, just to freshen up the mulch and get it back within the desired depths. M&C Electric has 2 projects One is the Anderson Mill West Park lighting receptacles in the trees. I know I saw them out there last week. I don't believe that they've finished that project. And then they're also working on that, the down light pole. ProTech replaced some broken swings, and they're going to come back and install some temporary kind of safety cones over a couple of the broken pieces of playground equipment there at Anderson Mill West. So that is as well in progress. The items for consideration this month, it was presented last month for the digital meter upgrade project. We essentially broke that down into a quarterly project option. So the quarterly amount would be $233,154.84. We did contact the meter manufacturer, and they did extend the quote that they sent us and guaranteed it through the end of 2026. So it would allow us some little extra time if that's something that y'all wanted to move forward with within the next fiscal or calendar year next year. There's also a quote from Landcare. There's a irrigation valve. I'm not sure. I think it's over here. Okay. There's an irrigation valve. Not sure how it was damaged, but it needs to be replaced. That quote is $745.69. And then, as Jacob mentioned, if we would want them to come out and water that sod there along El Salito, they had previously provided us a quote of $292.97. And that, unfortunately, that is per visit in order to get basically a water truck to come out and water that sod along the sidewalk.
What's the amount? 200 what?
$292.97. And that's the, there's also, I have it in my grid, but you are also provided with the playgrounds, etc. Kind of some of it is repairs to some of the damaged items in the Anderson Mill West Park, and also the core in place, which is the safety padding around a lot of the play equipment. And that quote was $105,895.02.
$1,005.
No.
$105,895.
You can consider ripping it out.
So that's, say it again, it's for the area around the playground equipment.
It's replacing two different kind of pieces of play equipment that have been broken off.
Okay.
It's also to either repair or replace all of the pour in place there at Anderson Mill West. And then there's also an option for them. There are 2 bays of more of the infant swings. There's a total of 4 swings over there. I guess closest to
The school.
the pavilion, the school. There's a tree that is essentially too close to those swings, the one set of swings, per safety guidelines. Part of this quote is to remove that one bay of the 2 swings and then replace it with a, it's more of a all-inclusive kind of 5-foot swing that would be mounted kind of away, and then you'd have an open area between the 2 sets of swings to mitigate the proximity of that tree to the swings.
Okay, so are you done with your questions on? Yes. So yeah, I have questions for you regarding, you and I walked through the park. Beth was there present as well in our park committee. And we've also met with our safety park team, ProTech. And we, just for the public to know that these are priority, majority of them are priority 1. That
That is
means if
correct.
we don't get them fixed, that could be a huge liability for the district. So we must get those fixed to ensure the safety of our children in this community.
Fix or remove?
Well, we're gonna have to look at this from various different angles, right?
Right,
Because it comes down to money.
right.
So we want to ensure we have the right amount of quotes, we have the right amount of possible options. But would you say that this $100,000 that you've just quoted us, is that to cover only priority 1? Just to clarify.
Like being that you're removing the 2 infant swings and then the replacement with that like 5-foot inclusive swing, I mean, you could just remove those swings and not replace it with anything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that would be kind of an item that's not critical to replace at this time. There was also the quote for the couple of inclusive swings to replace some of the ones that were broken on the larger swing set. Each of those is $964 each. Again, you could just replace them with the belt swings that are out there right now. So that would be an optional item. If you didn't replace that or add the inclusive swing, you wouldn't need to do the concrete and new pour-in-place that would go underneath that swing. So there are some options, probably, let's see, just rough math, 6, maybe $13,000-ish that could be taken off of that.
But it's still a substantial amount of money
It's still a substantial amount
to ensure the safety
to
of our
address the
children.
P1s, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we got to have a good viable option and plan that we got to work through, but.
How much was just the pour-in-place? Is it broken out, just the pour-in-place?
Well, like,
Okay, we're gonna go back to order, so let's do this
You
in
get
order.
to ask the
So,
questions, but I
Beth,
Oh my God.
you're gonna wait for your turn, David. Everybody has, right, so there's a system here. So Beth, do you have any questions?
Do not,
Okay.
I'm talking about it now.
Chris, do you have a question? Okay, now's your turn. You may ask all of your questions.
You sure? Because I wasn't able to ask all my
Well,
questions
as long
last
as you're
one.
not questioning people
Okay.
for an hour, that'd be totally fine.
Was it an hour? Wow, man.
Well,
Really, an hour?
Come on,
Okay.
proceed, please.
Okay.
Go ahead and
No, I'm
proceed.
just clarifying.
Ask questions.
An hour? An hour.
Can we move
David.
forward, please?
Don't date me, please. Don't date me.
I'm sorry.
Can we put some order here?
I have actually
So,
given permission
how
to
much
ask
was
questions,
just
so
the
let's
pour-in-place?
continue.
for the additional inclusive swing or?
No, to repair the pour-in-place that we have.
It's multiple items here. The first item is kind of to just demo some of the pour-in-place. You know, that's $8,400.
To demo and put back, or just the demo?
Demo and dispose
Yeah.
old PIP. It's on-
And also to remove that 2-bay swing, which you have columns that are cemented in the ground. I don't know how deep. That also includes removing those.
I'm just wondering if removing the pour-in-place and just putting wood chips, because this pour-in-place has been a nightmare for years.
Well, okay.
And just do wood chips, it just,
That could be an option that's quoted.
I think that's an option that
The-
should be considered.
The thing about the pour-in-place, you know, it's only, I don't know, say 4-6 inches thick. Then you have concrete islands
Oh, really?
under that. Because that's what the pour-in-place is
It's
attached to.
attached to. That makes
So
sense.
you would have, in order to do the wood chip option, you're gonna have to go in there
Demo the
and demolition
concrete.
all of the concrete that's underneath those pour-in-place mats. So,
Okay, those are my only questions, thank you.
Right.
Hopefully it wasn't an hour.
Let's go ahead and move on to committee assignments and reports, including number 1, Parks Committee, including discuss new repairs.
I think we
Parks
just did that.
Committee.
Correct.
Do you have anything else that we need to?
No, I think that we've shared
do
everything.
you want to consider either of the two quotes from Landcare to replace the broken valve here at Lakeline Oaks, and I don't know if you want to consider watering the sod
Right.
along El Salito.
Okay, so watering the sod and what else?
There's the irrigation valve here at Lakeline Oaks. That quote is $745.69.
Together is 1038.66.
What is it together?
Together is 1038.66.
And that would be for one
One-
watering
Yeah, one
of the
application.
sod.
Okay,
And are we gonna do any of the parks before this?
I don't know. I don't think
I
it's.
mean, hopefully we would get some more rain.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to replace the sod once this brutal heat goes away and then just put new sod and this way it won't die with 100-degree weather? Just hold off on it.
Could be an option.
The sod was $1,200, the watering's $200. I thought we decided we'd water twice, and if that didn't work, we'd replace it. I mean, there's a chance you should save the grass.
So
Well, 200 is cheaper than 1,200.
It's true. I have a question. So what are your thoughts as an engineer in other districts? What has been your experience?
Well, as an engineer, in my opinion on whether sod needs to be watered or not isn't really correlated, but what we had talked about at.
Well, you have experience with other districts, correct? That's what I'm asking. So I just need some knowledge here that you can share with the public. That's what I'm asking.
My opinion, which is not engineering based whatsoever, is you have a set amount that you spend on the sod. You have a dollar amount per water. So give Infomart approval to do X number of waterings if they see fit. And don't exceed the cost of doing the sod. So and I have to go back to look at what the cost of the sod was, I don't remember, but I think in the infrastructure committee meeting, we decided like 2, maybe 3 waterings. Anything more than that, you're going above and beyond the cost to redo the sod. The purpose of putting the sod down was not to have a grass environment that would be phenomenal. It was to protect erosion under the sidewalk. So the intent has been met, right? You have the turf and sod there, whether or not it's green grass is not really the point as to why you put the sod there.
Right. All right, do we have a, I want to hear your thoughts.
I was just going to add, if you do approve 2 waterings of the sod and we start getting rain every other week, we don't have to tell them to go water. It's only if it continues to be dry, things like that. So, the replacing the valve, and if you were to approve 2 waterings, that total would be $1,331.63.
How much is just the valve?
The valve is $745.69. 2 waterings would be
$745.69. I move that we approve the $745.69 for the valve, and we can deal with that grass later on. I sit here and argue over grass. Can I get a second?
Okay, we have a motion just to do the irrigation valve for 745. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a second?
Well, I'll vote for that. Replace the valve.
Okay. Any further discussion on replacing the valve? Do you have anything to say, or we're good to move on?
No, I mean, I think in my opinion, that's a wise decision. Repair a piece of equipment that does something good for us, and then look farther down the road as to whether we.
Beth?
I do not. We need to fix it.
You don't think we need to fix it?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay. And not do anything about the water? Chris?
And we waited till August 25th to not water it, I'd like to see 1 watering so we could, maybe save the grass.
I'll go over there with a bucket of water and pour it on
Well, I recommended that myself, so.
there. I think that was a wise.
I'll bring a bucket.
And me and you bring a bucket and we'll go. Or you go one week, I go the other
How much area
week.
are we talking about?
Like, come on.
Huh?
maybe 20
5.
feet long.
Really, that long? Maybe.
I'm being generous.
But you're
I
doing,
take 2 buckets of each.
I'm down with that.
I'll bring a bucket if you will, David.
I will.
Okay,
Bring 2.
Okay, let's say we want water now, and me and David will bring buckets of water, okay?
All right, so, are we ready to vote? All in favor?
This is for
The
fixing
valve.
the valve.
Fixing the irrigation valve for 745.
69 cents.
All right,
One last question for the board. I know that the meter upgrade is a very large project for the district. Do you have any directives on further edits to the proposal?
How many do we still need to put in right now?
Almost 1,400. It was 1,390 something meters still in the district today.
I don't know, Beth, I do not know. He has the right to go anywhere he wants.
Oh, he left it there.
I think in the
Do we have any
CIP
proposal, do you have any proposals as to the water meter? I know you had a question, so if you might
Yeah,
want to.
well, I was gonna say, is that part of the CIP project, the water meter? It's not, is it?
I don't reflect it in the CIP,
Okay,
but,
okay. So it's an operating expense item.
well, I'll share what we discussed at the committee level, which was, as you're setting your budget for this year, in this current fiscal year, you had $100,000 in your budget, 2 meters. Yep. As far as I know, you'll have expenses in that.
Right.
And so, initially, to give a little bit of background, just to make sure we're all on the same page, initially y'all decided to do $50,000 a year of meter purchases. And then,
Yes.
when we were setting the budget last year, we were like, let's bump that up to 100, because y'all felt like y'all had room in your budget. So, my thoughts to you all as y'all are going through and setting your proposed budget for this next fiscal year is whatever delta y'all feel like you'll have available to spend towards meters, do it. If you can do it all, great, that's up to y'all, that's y'all's financial decision making. But try to do as much as you can so that this isn't.
It's just gonna get more expensive.
It
you're
is,
gonna-
and
you're-
we
the amount of
really
meters you
need to
can buy
finish
on
this.
Each given year is gonna be less and less and less, right? So just try to get as many as you can within your budget as you're setting it. So that's how we left it. In my, I do show the meter expense in my cash flow. But it's literally highlighted on my documents of saying, up for y'all to decide how much y'all think you can spend to give enough market shares to buy as much as they can and put as many as they can. As quickly as they can.
Like it. Make a motion that we purchase 900 of them.
Can she get a second?
I'll second that.
It's in the budget, so. let's do it.
Do we have 900 in the budget?
That's what I was looking for.
I don't see that.
We have $100,000 in the budget, I don't know how many of them.
For these meters, they've been on the budget for a whole year. We do
Are you
have-
talking about the meters and the installation?
I just want to get the meters bought, so
Yeah,
that
but we
put
can
them
buy
in
the meters,
later.
but if we don't have the funding to install them, then that's an issue, so I wouldn't.
I know, but we can't not.
Just
But that's all.
top of the head math, 900 meters, gonna run you about $637,000.
That's
At
way off.
$100,000 a year, it's gonna take you about 9 years to replace the 1,300.
If we bought how many?
Bought and installed.
I mean, at today's price, if you spent $100,000 per year, it's going to take you over 9 years, probably close to 10 years, to replace the 1,300, almost 1,400 meters.
You just gotta give up something. You gotta
Here's,
give up stuff.
here's the situation. We have a capital plan in our budget that have priority over meters. So we're gonna have to figure out through infrastructure, how many can we do?
What's more important, meters or security or deed enforcement?
So,
So again, just again, round numbers, at $100,000 for the year, that's about 140 meters.
That's nothing.
So that's 10% for the next 10 years.
So your recommendation, Jacob, was What, Keith?
As y'all are sitting down with your budget and moving numbers up and down or whatever, and currently you've got 100,000 in there, right? So I have looked at your bookkeeper's stuff, I assume she put a number in there for meters. Trying to get that number as high as you can, buy as many meters as you can.
I think we're already
So
over.
can we agree to take this to committee level? Because we have to look in priority one's park, right, which is, I'm hearing almost close to $100,000. I'm hearing capital stuff that's super expensive, almost $500,000. Yeah, we can't do that many meters. So what we need to do is, let's just go ahead and send this to committee.
I think all of us need to publicly say, what is our priority? You know, I don't think doing it in a committee meeting is.
So let's do information management committee. Do we have anything from information management committee?
That's you, isn't it?
I don't have anything.
We don't have anything.
Budget committee, Chris and
We've already
Carol?
talked about where we're going, we set the date for the public hearing. We will probably get a more accurate county assessed value number by then, so it won't be an estimate.
Can I just make one comment on the Information Management Committee? For the next meeting, you all discussed wanting to clean up the district's website.
Yes.
So that's good, that'll be on the agenda. We thought cleaning up the district website to ensure that all the, the rules match and all resolutions are taken down and stuff like that. So that will be on for next month.
We don't have anything else.
All right, deed restriction committee. Nothing?
Oh, we're close. We're close.
Okay.
Were any letters sent out?
Should be soon.
David, waste management? No? Okay. Open records committee, do we have any updates on open records?
No, but the memo is in your packet. Oh, Carol wanted me to mention, we have, so for last month, so for July, let's see, July, we spent 1.6 hours on one requester. Let me see, 2.7 hours on another, and then we've received a couple requests in from August from 3 different requesters. And I don't, there might be 1 or 2 outstanding BIRs that we're still working on that will be reflected in this report once we complete them. We don't add items to the report until we've closed them out. That way we can finalize them. So there's, I believe, maybe possibly 2 more that are due in a couple days that we'll add on to the report. That will be for your August report.
And approximately how much are we, on this month's report on the public information's request? Do we have any approximate amount?
Well, let's see, from my office, I'd have to go back to your bookkeeper's report and see. Lisa, are you still on the line? Or here, actually, I have it up. Well, it's not for this. I'll have to see, let me pull up my invoice for the 22 account. So your other consultants, they charge out unless it's built into their contract, and that gets charged on their report, so I don't know exactly what it is.
Are we good to move on and then report next month on this? Okay, good. So the next one would be security committee. Do you have anything? Beth?
$700 from our office.
Okay.
Would you not?
All right, so then let's move to item number 10, old business, and this is about the ongoing litigation.
Yeah, I just put it on there just in case you want to go into executive session.
Attorney's report.
Okay, the only item I have, well, we're going to work with your tax assessor that you guys hired and your financial advisor to make sure that the tax rate publication is published in a timely manner. Again, like we said, next month is going to be the month where you all actually formally adopt that tax rate, so we need a quorum. If you are unable to attend for any reason, let us know as soon as possible, because we'll have to republish that notice. The one update I'll bring to your attention, you received our legislative memo last month, but starting September 1st, you have what's called a tax, in addition to publishing the agenda 3 business days in advance, no longer 72 hours, it's 3 business days. You'll have something called the taxpayer impact statement. And so for any meetings where you all are to discuss or adopt a budget, there has to be what's called a taxpayer impact statement, and it's included in the agenda. Basically, it's going to provide more information for the general public to see, instead of just seeing a copy of the budget, which also has to be attached to the agenda and posted online everywhere. They'll see the budget, what the district spent this money on, and then you'll have this impact statement, which will kind of give a more in-depth look at the finances of the district. So it's something that's brand new. We're still kind of tweaking our form, but I'm going to send it to your bookkeeper, your financial advisor, and get input from them so I can put the numbers in there. Again, they're all kind of approximate numbers, but for meetings in which boards are to discuss or adopt budgets, that impact statement has to be, along with the budget, that draft budget or the budget to be discussed has to be included on the back of the agenda and published. That starts September 1st.
So it's gonna have to go with this budget cycle.
So for your September meeting, when you have your budget, it'll be on there, yes.
All right, so do you have any questions, Carol? Beth? Chris?
No.
David? All right, we're not calling this we're not convening into an executive session, therefore, action item number 13 is off the table. Let's do such matters as may come before the board, including discussion about items to be included on the agenda for future meetings. Do we want to discuss any of those, or?
I have the information management committee.
Okay.
I haven't heard any other ones.
All right, well, I move to adjourn this meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Meeting is adjourned.
We are residents of this district, suing residents of this district is us. He doesn't have command of the English language. You should know.
Thank you, Lynn. Jacob,
Yes, ma'am.
what was the date that we had that original meeting? It's August 1st that we had that meeting where we had the first meeting with the financial advisor. I have a meeting date on my calendar for August 1st, and I think that was it, but I didn't name it. But you remember we had everybody there that was.
Supermarket have the iPad?
I'll find it.
Okay,
The
I
iPad?
think that's what that was, but.
Is